Hello, welcome to Carlton Blue. My name's Dan Rowlands and I'm joined this evening by John Townley to talk about Liverpool 1, Aston Villa 1. A great result at Anfield, all things considered. And probably the theme of this podcast is we feel a little bit disappointed not to go there and take all 3 points, which shows the measure of how far we've come under Unai Emery. Now, when we did our pre-season prediction, by the way, John, are you okay? You all right?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good.
Good. Yeah, get that out of the way. When we did our end of season predictions at Hockey Social Club last week, was it, I think, and it came out. Oh no, the start of this week, and it came out a couple of days ago. Yeah. We were saying what Villa need to do to plot their unlikely route to Europe. That was the title because we thought, well, we've probably got to get something against Liverpool, and we have to beat Brighton. And we now are beat Brighton, Villa in Europe next year, which is an unbelievable achievement, and we'll talk about that more as we go through. But we said if Villa can get 4 points out of those 2 games, whatever the rest of the clubs do, it can't really be helped. Villa would do very well to get 4 points out of these, and obviously that is the maximum now they can get with a draw today and a win against Brighton, putting us on to what would that be? 63 points. I've got the table in front of me somewhere. 61, I think. If I've got it right, 158, yeah. So 61 points, and we said if we can break the 60-point target, that's a good season. Whatever happens, we'll have come a long way, etc., etc. But we're in a mad position here, aren't we? 1 win away. Can you believe it?
No, not really. It's a strange feeling because for weeks now, possibly in months, we've been thinking, okay, well, if we can get, as you say, up to 60 points or in and around that, we'll be, potentially in the hat for Europe. And then I was always looking at the last 3 games. You had Tottenham, Liverpool and Brighton, because those were always going to be the 3 teams that were going to be in and around us, and that's sort of proved correct. But now we're actually in the position of we are literally 1 game away, 1 win away. Who knows? We might even just draw it and get it. But to be in that driving seat of it's in your own hands, like with 1 game remaining, like you don't have to worry about anyone else having games in hand or other fixtures. It's just 1 single game at Villa Park against a Brighton team who, if they beat Southampton, won't have anything to play for. And then Tottenham, we're going to have to better our result, and they're going to be playing a Leeds team who have to win themselves, a Tottenham team who are now out of the top 7, and are they really going to be, going all at it to get 7th? Again, that's a team that sort of binned off the Conference League a couple of years ago. I don't think so. So all of a sudden, I feel like everything has kind of just landed in our lap, and if we don't get it from here, I'll be puzzled as to how or what went wrong on the day, because we've put ourselves in a fantastic position, and I don't want to get kind of too ahead of myself, but I don't see how we sort of mess it up from now. I don't want to jinx it.
Steady on.
Honestly, you put it all together, and that's full credit to us, by the way. Here we are, and it just feels quite surreal because we're actually in the position now, and there's no sort of ifs or buts. It is literally just win that football match, or even match Tottenham's or wherever it may be, and then you're in Europe again. And quite remarkable. And to be fair, I think when we were, obviously we're beating Liverpool up until the 88th minute, 89th minute, there was a bit of me that we can actually get Europa League now if we beat Brighton. Brighton won. I think they would have had to have beaten Southampton and Man City. Obviously, didn't work out that we won today, but hey ho, European football's almost. I feel like we've got a huge opportunity now. We just need to take it, and I think we will.
Yeah, we'll talk about Europe and the permutations and what we need to do a little bit later in the show, and also like some of the comments we've said earlier in the season about Europe. I'm going to bring those back in as well. I wish I'd been had time to put the clips into the show, but I've just transcribed what we said. There's some belters in there. I love the attitude, and there's a comment there from Neil. I just tuned in, and John saying how John says he can't see how we mess it up, and I've messed that up. That's what I'm talking about. I love that attitude, and that's, again, I said steady on there, but that's how I feel.
We can't beat around the bush anymore. It's on a plate. It's there for the take.
We've got one hand on the trophy.
It's no disrespect for Brighton. It's just simply if Brighton beats Southampton, they'll have nothing to play for. It's professional pride. But then playing us, their position won't change. So that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Yeah, and my attitude to this will be, I think we'll win. So I'm also with you that we're not going to mess it up. But football isn't as easy to predict as that, and there are a few different ways it can swing and change. Like I said, we will talk about it because I'm keen that this is a post-match show for Liverpool. So let's talk about the Liverpool game. We'll do what we always do and go back to team news. 3 changes for Villa: Kamara in, which is the big one. Matty Cash back at right back, and Leon Bailey as well. in the pre-match show that me and Ash did, we thought if there were going to be any changes, it would be Kamara coming in and maybe one of Buendia or Bailey or possibly Traore playing off Watkins. We both said we thought it'd be Buendia because my reason was that he scored at Everton away, so similar part of the country might be able to do a job against Liverpool.
I heard that.
No theory behind it. I just I fancy Buendia in this game. It was Bailey though. He struggled. I think probably out of the. I don't know if struggled is probably fair, but he's hooked off. So make of that what you will. That was a little bit surprising. Same with Cash to a lesser extent, but Kamara is the key one, and he's a brilliant footballer, isn't he?
Yeah, we all know he is, and it's a shame that he's been injured for so much of the season. It has been a fair chunk now. I think he had that one, obviously, between Gerrard getting sacked and Emery coming in. He had that little injury there, which 5 or 6 games maybe, and then he sort of had another one, which is probably a bit longer. So, yeah, real shame that he's missed a fair chunk of the season, but we know how good he can be and what he will give us if he can remain fit, which I think is a bit of a question mark because he's had 2 of them now. So going to next season, I'm a bit sort of worried of how many games can he do? Can he do a 35-game season plus potentially European football as well? So I wouldn't be surprised if we went in the market and bought someone else, not to replace Kamara, but just to add a bit more in that position, because when he is out of the team, I think Dendonker's done well, but you can't, like when you're actually in the game, and like today, he's just really good, and he offers a lot in terms of how we play off the ball. I think Dan's just left, which isn't very. That's not great. But yeah, Kamara. We'll wait till he gets back. Kamara, I think, gives us that protection in terms of he is that anchor from that back four, and so offensively as well. He can offer that protection that allows us to push the ball forward into the final third. I think Dan was mentioning the 3 players who all came in. So Cash, I was a bit surprised to see start, if I'm being totally honest. And Ashley Young was kind of a shoe-in for today just because of his experience. And obviously he would have played how many games at Liverpool in that sort of atmosphere when Liverpool have, presumably, obviously Young would be playing for United at the time for most of the games he's played there, but he knows what Anfield can be like in those sort of high pressure situations, because they had to win today to get top 4, didn't they? And they've only lost once now, I think, in nearly something like two years and 2 months, I think it is. Here he is.
Hello, sorry, I had a power cut. My Mac got so excited at the thought of European football and turned itself off. Sorry, John.
I was holding the fort well, so I'll continue. I was just saying, Matty Cash coming in as well, and Ashley Young not playing from the start. Well, that was, I'd say, a shoe-in at the start, because today was a game where Liverpool, we nullified them in the first half, didn't we, completely? The
Masterclass first off.
Yeah, they were always going to be up and at it, but we didn't allow that to happen, basically. And I thought Young would have been playing for that specific reason, but as it turned out, I thought Cash actually played really well. But again, in the first half, I feel like everyone did their bit. On Bailey, again, I think he's just struggling in general. He's obviously a different profile to Buendia and to the other forwards we have. He gives us that pace on the break, and he can sort of, play more high and wide, a bit more expansive, more space on the pitch, and you would probably back him to do something more so than Buendia, I suppose, just because it's that sort of game at Anfield. But I think as it turned out, I think Buendia would have actually had more joy in the first half than him, because we kept the ball so well. Yeah. And we were so controlling, I think. So, yeah, a bit of surprise that Bailey started and Cash started, but I actually thought Cash did well. And obviously Kamara, we don't have to sort of go on about him, because, again, we all know how good he is. So,
yeah, I said 3 changes, but Dean started as well, didn't he?
Dean, yeah, of course. Luke.
Yeah, of course. So that was a little bit of a surprise.
Did Bailey start against? Who did we play last?
I can't remember, mate. I'm all over the place. I've just run downstairs thinking we've had a power cut, but it wasn't.
I think Bailey started against Tottenham. I'm not too sure.
Anyway, yeah, Dean was a surprise. I don't know whether there was a Moreno injury. Obviously, he goes off injured later on anyway. Whether that was just a rotation or a specific tactic from Emery to deploy him against whoever, which, yeah, as expected. When we do this segment on the post-match show where we talk about the team lineup, obviously there's an element of, we already know the result, so we know whether it was a good or a bad side to an extent. Under Emery, though, it's kind of like, well, if he thinks that's the side, fine. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to argue, why is Dean playing? Why is Bailey playing? It's like, well, Emery thinks that's the side to beat Liverpool, so I'm fine with whatever he picks. Same for transfers and things. If he thinks a player is suitable and we're all going, well, he didn't have a great time at X club before. It's like, Emery's picked him for a reason, so kind of let him crack on because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the goal then. Actually, the penalty. We'll do it chronologically. The penalty decision, I thought it was a nailed-on penalty to begin with from Watkins going down. I can't remember who the defender was, but you was like, yeah, penalty. Fair enough. Yeah, Canate. The penalty itself, and Watkins is on a bit of a goal drought now, isn't it? I guess after the run he was on with, was it 9 and 11, and now he's not scored for 5, I think, or 1 goal in 5 games or 6 games, something like that. Yeah. When he stepped up to take it, you think, oh, this is his chance to kind of get the monkey off his back and score a goal for us and break that. But I don't think he's got the best record at penalties, unless I'm mistaken. And I just wonder whether he was the right man for it. If it's not your striker, I don't know who. Too fair.
I think that's the wider point of the Villa have a proper penalty taker. And it's mad. Professional football, someone's got to be able to take a penalty, but we don't have that player, do we? So, yeah, that's an issue moving forward, because I don't know, as you say, if it wasn't Watkins, what do you do? Just let Mig in?
Douglas Luiz, possibly?
Yeah, but I mean, Watkins is stepping up for a reason. I presume that, a Bodymore, I presume they're doing penalty practice. But yeah, it wasn't a good penalty because he missed the target. He didn't even hit the post. But he's kind of tried hard to put it in the corner, hasn't he? Maybe Alisson's kind of got on his head a bit because he is the best keeper in the Premier League by a long way. And even if it went in the corner, Alisson might have saved it. So yeah, I don't know. I would put it down to a number of things, but what we do know is that Watkins isn't a natural penalty kick taker. As you say, he missed one at West Ham, didn't he, a couple of years ago? And maybe even between now and then too. Just on that, by the way, yeah, Bailey did start against Tottenham. Got confused. The 3 changes you say were Luka Dean, Cash and Kamara.
Yeah. Another VAR decision then. Well, I say another. We haven't spoken about the other. I'm all over the place on this, by the way, and this is kind of what the post-match show is at this point. Just let's ramble through it. Obviously, there's 2 VAR calls. I had notes on the side, but they've gone now that I've been kicked off the stream, so very frustrating. So there's the second goal, obviously the Liverpool VAR decision, and the first one that went to VAR is the Mings red card, checking possible red card. I don't know how I feel about that, because he gets the ball first, doesn't he? So
yeah,
if you win the ball, it's not really a foul in some aspects, but he's also given the yellow card. So if you give the yellow card, you deem that there's some kind of infringement there, so it is possibly a red, and then you go back and watch it, and they decide that it isn't. Jurgen Klopp, by the way, I've got a clip in a sec that we can play, is talking about effectively saying it looks like he's been sponsored by Adidas because he's got 3 lines down his chest. Although he didn't say Adidas, because obviously Liverpool are sponsored by Nike. But yeah, there's clear contact. Mings does get him, but because he gets the ball first, I don't think it's a red card. But again, if these things are all, we're an Aston Villa podcast. Last week we were moaning about Harry Kane winning a penalty. If someone does that for Villa, we're all over it. If that Mings challenge is against us today, we're going, why has Van Dijk not been sent off for that? But it didn't. It's Tara Mings, and I don't really care, to be honest.
Yeah, I try and take the bias out of it. Like not to go back on it, but I thought the Kane penalty, I could see why they gave it. And if that happened to a Villa player, I think they would have given it. But today, I don't think that was a red card. No, he won the ball. Don't get me wrong. If he didn't win the ball, it would be a red card.
It's a massively high foot, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and for Mings as well. But he's, I think it was the kind of, not the stamp. It's not a stamping motion, but he kind of pushed. He didn't back out.
He's going to play the ball, though, isn't he?
Yeah, and he did, thankfully, because if he didn't, it would be a red. So yeah, possibly could have avoided making that sort of tackle or that lunge, but I think that was why they checked it on VAR, because I guess it's a lunging motion, wasn't it, that sort of went down his chest, which isn't ideal, but he won the ball, so it's all good.
Yeah, honestly, don't care. Let's see what Klopp says about it.
Oh, that's, I'm not sure you saw Cody, but he looks like sponsored by a very famous brand. It's like 3 massive. I didn't see it back. So it was a red card from your point of view. So then it's the question. I cannot answer that question. I was in, but I was probably too far away from that, and saw Cody only later. Then when he showed it to me that you cannot do that without making a proper foul.
Sorry, that's just me playing the world's tiniest violin there for Jurgen Klopp. Who cares, man? Like, I didn't see it. He was sat in the stands next to a video analyst. Like, he would have seen every single replay of that. So if you're going to stand by your opinion that you think it's a red, don't back out and say I didn't see it. You weren't even on the touchline, mate. You've seen every angle of it. Yeah, if he's got contact with him, yes, whatever. But he won the ball. I don't care. Let's move on. The second VAR decision that we're going to talk about is the offside. Now, I'm going to hold my hands up a little bit here and say I'm not quite sure what the rules are anymore. I thought that the initial thing they were checking for offside was the first ball in, and then on the replays they're showing the kind of close-up second phase or whatever that Van Dijk gets some kind of touch on it towards Gakpo and he's offside. And then there's all this talk about whether it's an intentional play by the defender or not, and if it is intentional, it is offside, or if it's not intentional, it's offside. Like one of the rules, I don't really know anymore, to be honest. That's how I kind of feel about it. So if anyone, you specifically, or anyone in the comments can kind of clarify why that is. Again, tiny violin, don't really care. It doesn't matter to me that that's offside because it benefits Aston Villa, and I'm massively hypocritical here because, again, if that was against Aston Villa, I'd be all over it, moaning about it. But because it's going in our favour, I'm not really that bothered. But it did feel a bit like, was that offside? Was it not? Like, I don't know anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of decisions that people don't know about anymore. I guess it's, again, yeah, what was the word? You might have said it there, Dan. It was like intentional or not intentional.
Like a deliberate, unintentional. Yeah, like I've seen one clip of it or one freeze frame on Twitter, so I'm not coming at this with the best judgment. If I'd have seen it in high definition on Match of the Day tonight, and this is probably where, if we're doing a podcast next week to talk about this game, I'd go, oh, well, I've seen it now and I can speak about it better. But as of right now, I've seen one freeze frame. It was in Aston Villa's favour, so...
Yeah, it was offside.
Offside.
And deal with it. It's
yeah, basically. As for the rest of the game, the goal that did stand and the goal that's important to us, the Aston Villa goal, I kind of want to highlight Douglas Luiz's role in this. And obviously, he gets the assist, so he's a big part of it. But I think the two headers that come before he delivers the ball in are what basically keeps the chance alive. That where Villa are trying to probe through Liverpool, and there's two occasions where Liverpool go to clear it away, and Douglas Luiz wins both second balls to keep the chance alive. He heads one back, comes back to him, heads that back, goes to another Villa player, and it comes back to Douglas Luiz's feet, and he puts a great ball in. Like the assist and the finish are brilliant. But that little kind of interchange before the chance even becomes available only happens. Christ, I'm all over the place here. Only happens because Douglas Luiz is tenacious and doing the right things.
Yeah, I was just watching it back then. Yeah, definitely. But I think the key moment, just say, is the delivery. It's on a sixpence for Jacob Ramsey, who's at the back post, where Trent gets caught out quite a few times. So I'm not sure if that's something we've been working on in terms of
possibly
put the ball towards the back post, or maybe Ramsey is. I mean, I didn't see it too much in the game, but maybe Ramsey's thought if I, stand on, or not literally, but if I stand behind his, towards the back post on his shoulder sort of thing, then he's going to get opportunities. And he took it well. Like, again, really good ball, but it's a difficult technique to guide that away into the far corner again, and the ball was moving at some speed. So yeah, really good.
Yeah, you've seen many Villa players sky that over the bar from that distance.
Yeah, or just fluff your line sort of thing. But no, you can well Ramsey, and he gave the Liverpool fans some stick after, didn't he? He was like shushing him and all sorts. Like, it wasn't just the fans behind the goal; he went for the next stand as well.
I love that.
So do I, but I don't know. I don't know what the motive was. I don't know whether they were giving some stick before the goal or whatever. But yeah, all for that.
Yeah, let's just talk about JJ very quickly.
Yeah,
he probably gets a little bit of stick sometimes, and maybe some of that's fair and some of it isn't. That he's not kind of like, if he doesn't have a 3 or 4 games he doesn't play particularly well, it's kind of like, why is he in the team? What does he offer? Like, is he good enough that we just go, oh, he's a guaranteed starter? And part of that is because there isn't really another option to play off the left at the moment, and maybe going forward next season there will be more options, which this means Jacob Ramsey doesn't play every single minute of every single game. But he's also a 21-year-old footballer, which I think is probably quite difficult, easy to overlook sometimes. That was his 100th appearance today, and I don't know how many goals he's got. And I want to make a comparison here that I know is going to get clipped up in the wrong way. That he's miles ahead of Jack Grealish at the same age that he was at Aston Villa, who was doing the same things in the Championship. And the goal, again, I've not got them in front of me, but I'm pretty sure Ramsey's output is better now in the Premier League than Grealish's was in the Championship at that age. I'm sure I've seen that somewhere, that however many goals and assists Ramsey's got now, Grealish hadn't even done that at a lesser level by this age.
I mean,
he's done a lot in a short career already so far. And I think you kind of go, if he has a couple of bad games, you go, he's experienced enough now and he's played a lot of games, and he has, but he's also only 21 and he's got a massive amount still to grow and learn. And Emery's the best manager to get something out of him.
Yeah, I did a piece on it last night because I saw that he had 99 games, and I thought, we need to do something for his 100th. I saw he had like scary potential because I back that because he, again, 100 appearances at this age, 90 of them I think are in the Premier League, and the way that he's matured, and we know that Emery can improve footballers. I feel like he's just going to do that under Emery. The only thing I say is that because that consistency, which hasn't always been there, again because he's 21, but. Is that motorbike?
I've got the window open because it's sweltering in here. I don't know if you can tell that I look like a massive tomato, but yeah, motorbike outside.
Yeah. The only issue for his sort of progression would be that we are going to improve the team, which means that he will start less games in the Premier League next season, I think, than what he has this year. Again, that's not the worst thing in the world because, again, hopefully European football is on the way.
Yeah.
And he'll, you don't need to start every game to improve and get better. You can. I don't know quite how to say that, but he will continue to progress under Emery. We just might not see him play sort of every game or play as much as what he has been doing over the last 2 years now, because last season, wasn't it, when he really started to sort of come of age in the Villa team under Smith firstly, and then Gerrard. A lot of people bash Gerrard, and some things Gerrard would probably admit that are probably correct, but I would say that he dealt with Ramsey well, I think, and he definitely pushed him on. And working with, or just being with, someone who is arguably the best Premier League midfielder of all time. You can say what you want about Gerrard as a coach, but just learning habits and learning how he approaches whatever it may be, tips, whatever, that would have benefited. And just working with him for however many months was it? I don't know. I can't even remember now. It wasn't a very long time. But having those sort of mentors, as Smith is a kind of, like a bit of a father figure to him in a way to bring him through. Then Gerrard having that level of experience as a footballer to now working with an elite manager, that's quite some, I don't know, beginning to your Premier League career, I suppose, working with those three managers. And you just say he's turning 22 later this month, I think. So he's got a lot to achieve, and hopefully all of it will be in a Villa shirt because, he's got his ceiling. I wouldn't want to limit it because I think he's got everything, the way that he can run with the ball and the way he can kind of go the other way. He can get stuck in. I think he has the most, something like he has the most tackles or the most attempted tackles or something in the Villa team this season, which sort of surprised me. So he gets stuck in, and he's a really good player that's only going to continue to get better under Emery. Yeah,
and I just want to clarify, I'm not comparing him and Grealish. That's all. I'm not going to say Ramsey's going to be sold for 100 million next season or anything, but he's the next academy product that we're looking at to be like, what do Villa produce here? And he's done very well so far, and like you said, has a lot more potential to improve. And
Carney Chukwuemeka, who was the kind of, is he going to take Ramsey? He ain't going to get 100 appearances or 90 Premier League appearances over the next 2 years. No way is that going to happen. I mean, it can't happen, can it?
No, but the next 3 years, though.
And he's kind of he must be 19 now, I think. So
I think he was,
So like you kind of compare. It was Jack, then it was Jacob, then Carney came in. Jacob was kind of in the middle, and there was never a spotlight on him because it was Jack was doing so well, and we have Jacob. And then it was when he went, Carney, this kind of new, and rightly so because he's a brilliant player for his age, but he maybe made the wrong decision. Who knows? And Ramsey's kind of in the background, just gone about his own business, knuckled down, and that's showing him where he is now, and he's clearly been guided in the right way, and loads of years ahead of him to do almost whatever he wants in a Villa shirt because we're going places, and he's certainly going to be part of that. So really looking forward to see how he develops.
Yeah, exactly that. Should we have a look at the Premier League table? We're 25 minutes into this, and we've been a bit all over.
I've already seen it, but
who hasn't already had a quick scroll to see where we are? This has obviously been the Liverpool post-match show. I think we've covered most stuff that I wanted to talk about from Liverpool: the Mings red card, the penalty, Jacob Ramsey, the goal, Douglas Luiz. But by the way, Tyrone Mings was brilliant. We only talked about him in the sense of the red card, but he was unbelievable, I thought.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole defense was really good.
Yeah,
I think that was the one thing that Klopp gave us a little bit of credit for, just a tad. They were defensively quite good, but yeah, just in the first half as well. I think that's probably one of the best performances we've had in terms of going to somewhere. Again, Liverpool have lost once at home since like March 2021. Right?
Yeah, ridiculous.
I was against Leeds, so you don't want to kind of belittle it, but probably a bit of a fluke. So yeah, to go to Anfield and come that close to winning, but in the end, it's like actually, it's not as disappointing as what it might have seemed in a way, because we know that the mission is Europe and we can still do it. It's not a huge disappointment, but that first half for me was brilliant. We completely dominated and controlled it. So dominated, we shouldn't have been 4-0 up or anything, but just having that control and not. No mistakes, and we did it all from playing out from the back against a high press, a Liverpool high press as well at Anfield. That's remarkable, really. So yeah,
and we're still playing the high line that we were criticised for after the Spurs game. We caught Liverpool out a few times today. Like they're probably one of the most dangerous teams to play that style of football against. And first off, in particular, just masterclass is the word to describe it. That Unai was Aston Villa that first half, and the second when he tries to hold on to the lead. It's a 6 at the back at some points, but there's still moments where you kind of break out from nowhere and you go, we're still dangerous here. Like, it's not like we're Tony Pulis football, proper defensive, doing nothing, and we're just going to sit on the goal line for 45 minutes. Like, we're still something about us.
Yeah, we know. Exactly that. It's not retreating and defending on our box. It's not that. There's a method to what some people might see as madness, but it really isn't. It's just playing a high line to catch them offside, which means that you don't concede the goal. It's not,
exactly. Let's talk about stoppage time very quickly, because we've been asked to talk about it by Mr. Cheesyfy, who seems to get a mention on every episode. What about stoppage time? Discuss, please. Yeah, to me, that's peak Big Six club trying to get the advantage there. Like 18 minutes of stoppage time. Are you mad?
Yeah, the only thing I'd say about that is I think they've started a new sort of regime with that this weekend.
What, on the 37th week of the Premier League?
Yeah, I think so.
When
I was obviously, because we work and I was working before this, and I was doing something about Neves and Wolves, and he mentioned that he asked the referee about something, and he said that basically, long story short, there's a load of added time in every game this weekend. I think there was like 9 or 10 in the Everton game because they scored in the 99th minute, didn't they?
Yeah, I saw that.
The Forest game, there was a load as well. I think that was 7. I think there's a big narrative at the moment about time wasting, which again, Jurgen Klopp was eager to point out that there should have been about 15 minutes added. So I think, I don't know, Howard Webb might have said to the referees, we need to do or at least trial for the last 2 games, what the World Cup did when they just added like double digits added time at the end. I'm not totally against it, to be honest, because in football matches, the ball's in play for about 55, 60 minutes, which is mad when you think about it. If you're asking fans to pay nearly £1,000 for a season ticket, and then you're not actually seeing more than 2/3 of the game. But yeah, I don't know. It's probably just a wider conversation, but it wasn't just in our game. So I don't think we can kind of call it like an Anfield thing or anything.
I'm gonna.
I know
just because I can. To me, that's just like, Liverpool need a goal to keep their top 4 hopes alive. Here's 10 minutes. So, yeah, there we go. Anyway.
That would be the easy way to look at it,
yeah, exactly. Let's talk about the league table then. Here we go. Man City, champions again for the 3rd time in a row, thanks to Nottingham Forest beating Arsenal, which that must always be I'd absolutely take it. That must be quite a weird way to win the Premier League, that you don't even play. Like, Man City haven't played, and now they're champions just through Arsenal's defeat.
Yeah, I think they play at home tomorrow, so that'll be like their thing. But
it's still weird.
Yeah, I mean, they've won like 5 of the last 6. It's getting a bit boring, so it's just monopolising the league. No, it is. Let's be honest.
Fair enough.
Getting out of control.
Fine. Not surprised. It's just surprising.
I don't know if anyone cares, but Jonathan Liu for The Guardian wrote a really nice piece about sort of state-linked ownership, and I don't know where I'm going with this, but like after City blew away Real Madrid, and it kind of feels like they're going to win the treble, and it's almost a bit obvious. I don't know. Just try and read that piece though, because I think it's really good, and it kind of, I don't know, changed my perceptions of everything in terms of where football's going. But
I'm sure it's pretty easy to win 5 trophies in 5 leagues in 6 years if you're going to cheat your way to it and break 100 financial rules.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
That's not proven yet, but
allegedly
they have those charges. They have those charges against them. So, and if they were found guilty of them, then obviously they would be a bit tainted. But at the moment, they're not, so we can't comment on that. But the kind of wider point of they can sign Calvin Phillips for 45, 50 million and not play him, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
they can replace Phil Foden for Jack Grealish 100 million. Kind of do what you want, sort of thing. It's
I've got to say
they've got the best of everything, which is kind of fair play. Ironic, but as in, if they're not guilty of those charges, then okay, well, you got the best managers and you bought the best players. There's nothing to stop you if you're not found guilty of those rules being broken. But it does kind of make the title race, although it's been good for this season, to be fair to Arsenal. But I just don't see how Man City don't continue winning the league, winning the Champions League, winning everything for the rest of
eternity.
How can you?
Yeah. I'm just going to want to say, because I want to move away from Man City, that I love that I can mention something like Kane's diving and cheating, or Arsenal, Man City's financial charges, and I can turn the screw on you a little bit, and you go, "Well, we can't say that. Allegedly, we can't say that," and you just kind of like squirming into your seat. Of course, it's alleged. Harry Kane's not really a cheat, but I like needling you a little bit.
That's an opinion.
Of course. Newcastle pretty much guaranteed to finish top 4, I think. They've got a game in hand over Liverpool, of course. Man United again the same, so you'd imagine that's the top 4.
I think they can beat. They'll beat Leicester and then get that.
Yeah, that's pretty much sewn up. Liverpool can't finish any higher than 5th. Well, it's unlikely that they finish any higher than 5th, and they can't finish any lower than that for sure. Can they? Again, very, very unlikely. Brighton would have to win all 3 games, and Liverpool don't win their final game. Unlikely, but yeah, Liverpool 5th, you'd imagine. Brighton 6th at the moment, 35 games, 58 points, plus 18 goal difference. We said on the show we did in the week that if there is a side that deserves European football, Brighton have probably been the most consistently good team throughout the entire season, and they're up there for a reason. Villa were poor for 10 games and have had a great 2023 and also deserve to be where they are. Brighton have consistently done it throughout the entire season, so they're where they are. Aston Villa 7th, 37 games played, 58 points, level with Brighton, but goal difference of 14 worse. And Spurs down in 8th place, also 37 games, 57 points, thanks to Brentford beating them this morning in the 12:30, which we said Brentford's a difficult game for them, the 12:30 kickoff. How does that affect Villa later in the day, knowing the Spurs result? And also, we mentioned in that video that Brentford aren't quite out of it, knowing that if they did beat Spurs, that looks very tight now from 9th to 6th, again, with Brighton's games in hand. That if Brentford do go and beat Man City on the final day, which I don't see, but is possible, if City are resting players for the Champions League, say, I mean, their second string is still more than good enough to beat Brentford, but football isn't that easy to predict. If they did, and Villa didn't win against Brighton, all of a sudden Brentford have propelled themselves into European football. So they weren't out of it, and we were right to give them a mention in the last video we did and today. Yeah. So the permutations are, simply put, if Villa beat Brighton next week, they guarantee a top 7 finish. Because no matter what Brentford or Spurs do in their final game, they couldn't get to 61 points, which is what Villa would get. So they guarantee to finish 7th. If Brighton don't pick up more than 2 points against Southampton and Man City, and obviously us as well, guaranteed that we've got to beat them, Villa theoretically could still finish 6th, but would also rely again on Spurs not winning against Leeds on the final day. Is that right?
Well, I mean, if we beat Brighton, then we'll finish with Spurs anyway. So we would finish 6th if we beat Brighton and they don't pick up more than 2 points, yeah.
Yeah, but we're all expecting Brighton to beat Southampton, get 3 points, and finish 6th.
I think so.
Basically,
yeah. There is a kind of twist to that of if we it's another sort of permutation. But if Brighton didn't beat Southampton and on the final day we could finish 6th, we would then be playing a Brighton team who were playing for something, playing to not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So weirdly, we could lose that game. And then Spurs can finish above us, and we finish in 8th. Like that. So that on that, if Brighton don't beat Southampton or Man City, then it could be any one of those 3 teams in any position. So
yeah,
that's kind of scary at the same time. So I wonder if we kind of just Brighton beats Southampton, and then we just take 7th, hoping that Brighton won't be bothered. about playing and we just beat them. So we're playing team, not playing for anything. I don't know, but that's just a thought of, I don't know. It's probably overworking it in my head now, but
yeah, it's a possibility. But the main takeaway is that if Aston Villa beat Brighton next week, they guarantee themselves Europa Conference League at the minimum. Depending on if let's say Southampton beat them and they get 1 point against Man City, and Villa beat Brighton on the final day, it's possible that Villa could propel themselves to Europa League and stick the place. But at the very least, regardless of everything else, you beat Brighton, you guarantee at least Europa Conference League, which if you'd have said that, I don't know, even 3 months ago, you'd have said, oh, well, yeah, we're on good form, but still a long way to go. If you say 6 months ago when Emery took charge, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Like I said at the very start,
go on, yeah.
I've dug out a couple of quotes from videos we've done earlier in the season. So in the mid-season show that we did in the Qatar World Cup break, when Emery had just taken charge, beat Man United, beat Brentford. I think we were talking about when Gerrard was sacked, that we were like only out of the bottom three by like goals scored or goals difference or whatever. Goal scored. So like even Emery's like mini resurgence of getting the 2 wins in the league got us well out of danger in the immediate thing. But it's kind of like, oh, is this a bounce? Like, is it going to work out long term? Blah blah. We'll wait and see. And you went off on a little bit of a spiel about, well, we're not a million miles from Europe. And Matt Kendrick jumped in like, whoa, calm down, mate. Like, don't even talk about Europe. It's not worth it. And that was in mid-November, late November. Even earlier than that, the night, or I think the day after Gerrard was sacked, you, me and Ash did a video, and I said, at this stage, if you finish 12th, you'd probably take that. It'd be silly to even mention Europe this season. No. So the fact that we were like a top half finish is probably out of our reach this year. Like that would be unbelievable. And like if you finish 12th, mid-table mediocrity, you'd be all fine with that because we'll go again next season. And obviously we didn't know who the manager was going to be then at that point, the night after Gerrard was sacked.
Yeah,
So the fact that we're in this position now is unthinkable, really, that it's in our hands that you're 1 win away from Europa Conference League.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was about mid-March where it was kind of becoming more clear that we would have a shout of it if we maintained the form. Previously, it was always weeks and weeks of, we're still behind Chelsea. Chelsea have won again, and we can't overtake them. And what are we? I don't know how many points we are ahead of them. It must be double digits plus, at least. So yeah, to be in this position with 15 points clear, yeah, mad. Again, that was only a few months ago where we were saying like, oh, we finally got over Chelsea, and that felt like a huge lift.
Yeah.
And then we'd be like 8th, and you'd look at, I don't know, the Sky Sports on like Super Sunday, we'd come up with the table and be like, oh, look at us, like 7 points away from you. It's mad. Sort of the longer it went on, the more it was like, oh, we could do this, and then, but to actually, be in like the final game of the season, knowing that all you got to do is win that game again against a team who maybe might not have anything to play for, and the other permutation being that Tottenham would have to better our result again against the team who have to win to stay up, and the Spurs really want to get Conference League. I'm not too sure. So yeah, if we don't do it from here, I'm going to be really frustrated. Obviously delighted with the season and how it's gone, but can't kid ourselves, because I don't see, if Tottenham were to beat Leeds, then that would be the only way that I can't see us losing to Brighton. So if Brighton were to beat Southampton and have nothing to play for, I think it's there for us now. I think it's all just come together, and hopefully we'll do it. But yeah.
So in the match preview we did for Liverpool, I had a little chat about how today's game against Liverpool felt a little bit like the FA Cup semi-final, where all the hype was around Liverpool and Steven Gerrard getting his fairy tale send-off by winning the FA Cup final on his birthday in his final season for him, blah, 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 almost dismissing the fact that they play Villa in the semi and this was just going to be a walk in the park and they get to the final. Obviously, we throw the spanner in the works, beat them and get to the final. We get pumped by Arsenal, but we'll ignore that little bit for now. That felt like today a little bit like, it's Bobby Firmino's last game and we're going to have a fairy tale ending and it's going to be a great atmosphere and we're so close to Champions League, blah, blah. I felt like Emery could go there with a plan and get something. And I said to you before, do I think we'll go there and win? Not necessarily, but I feel like we can win because I've got the belief under Emery that we can go to anyone and give them a game. And that's been proven time and time again. And to go to Anfield, who've got a great, Liverpool have got a great record there, to play the way we did in the first half, almost win, if not for a last-minute goal and loads of injury time. Again, we could have been the one that, like Leeds, stopped that long record of them not losing at home and really spoil the party for them. We have anyway, because the point's great and it still keeps us going to the final game. And Emery said for a long time, if we go to that last game with something to play for, I'm happy with that. That's the goal. Go to that last game knowing if you get something, you can finish in Europe. Now, to me, again, I'm going to go with the kind of analogy to what it feels like. And this is just my kind of perception of it as a fan. To me, getting through this week and getting to the final game with something to play for is like the playoff final. The hard bit was West Brom in the semi. As soon as I knew we'd got to the final and it was Derby, I said, I don't know if I said it on anything publicly at the time, I definitely said in private, we'll 100% win. Because all the momentum was with us to even get into the playoffs with the 10-game winning run. We'd got over the hard bit with, Leeds had gone out already. We'd beat West Brom in this penalty shootout. It took everything. It was a big, massive effort. There's no way with the momentum we've got, we lose to Derby in this one-off game.
Yeah,
that's how I feel about the Brighton game. I don't see a fact that we lose next week.
Well, my thing is just I don't see Tottenham bettering our result, if you want to put it another way. That's my feeling of whether we win the game or not. I think we probably will, because of, again, Brighton might not have much to play for and we'll be up and at it. But for Tottenham to better our result, I think is really slim. And
so by that you mean if we only draw to Brighton, they've got to beat Leeds, and you don't see that happening?
Basically, yeah. Because Leeds, I mean, it would take a bit of a... I mean, this is going out before Leeds play West Ham. If Leeds were to beat West Ham, they'd be in the same position as us. They would have to, or Everton would have to better their result to them to go down. So tomorrow's a huge game for them. But I just can't see, Leeds, Ellen Road. They have to win the game. Simple as that. Tottenham are going to turn up, and they probably don't want to be there. So I just feel like, again, it's everything's kind of come together, and as you say, we have that sort of feeling of, surely we're going to do it now. And it's not like a false hope thing or we're jinxing it. It's just, like you add it all together. It makes sense for us just to finish in the top 7 now. Because if we don't, it's huge. Really? How did we not do it in the end? Again, incredible season, or, second half or whatever, maybe since Gerrard went. But from this position right here, right now, with one game remaining, come on, just get over the line.
Yeah, it's just I'm not bothered about I read out all the massive list of permutations. They're like, if Brentford do this and we do that, none of it matters.
That's what helps. We know that if we just win that football match,
that's it. Yeah.
What else happens? That's because I didn't think we'd be in that position. I thought we'd be in a position of, I don't know,
still needing goal difference or something.
Level on points with Spurs, and we'd have to better their result to get in. And to me, I would have taken that, because I think we would be able to do it anyway. So to be in the position we are now, we're like Tottenham they're going to have to better our result. They're not even, if you think about it, they're not even going to go into that game thinking of, we have to better Villa's result to get the top 7. They're just going to turn up and be like, right, let's try and end the season on a high. Do you know what I mean? It's a completely different mentality, because they don't want Conference League football. Yeah,
I mean, Tottenham are a much better team than Leeds on paper, and it wouldn't take much for Leeds to be crap there and Tottenham beat them, which is fine. Fine. That's absolutely fine. Tottenham could win on the last day. I think it's no, they're not, but they're obviously a better side than Leeds, because they're in the top 7 and Leeds are on the verge of going down. So on paper, clearly they're better. Yeah, but it don't matter, because we're going to beat Brighton. I just don't. It's not like I can see into the future or anything, but I can't envisage a loss next week. And I know it's going to sound massively stupid if we do, and there's going to be a million people come back to this and go, "Oh, look at him chatting rubbish on the podcast." But it's just the momentum is with us. There'll be 40,000 there. It'll be a mad atmosphere, probably the best of the season. There's no reason that isn't a Newcastle and a Spurs where we all get over the line together. You just know. We've said a long time, haven't we, about 8 cup finals, 7 cup finals, 5 cup finals, whatever. It is now 1 cup final. It's one game. You win, you get there. You lose, you probably don't. I mean, if you lose, you still could do it if all the others lost, which is unlikely. Though to be fair, Brentford could lose to Man City, and Leeds could beat Spurs, and Brighton beat us, and we'd still get it, which is balmy. But I think we'll win, because the momentum is with us, and we've got ourselves into a position where it's now in our hands, where you could be 2 up at half time and go, right, we're the real deal here. If we win and we see this game out, we've done it. So I'll put my neck on the line over a week in advance and say Villa beat Brighton next week and finish 7th. Because I firmly believe that will happen.
Yeah, So do I. I think we'll beat them, but then it's just, again, it's nice just to have that comfort blanket of, but even if we don't, I still think we would get over the line, because I don't see Spurs betting a result. Just don't.
Yeah.
Unless Leeds have a car crash and they, stink it out, and they, I don't know, they go throw the jugular in, it's 0-0 and then they lose like 3-0. I don't know. That would be the only way I'd see it change, but we'll see what happens. It's just nice to be in a position. Nice, that's understating it. It's a madness to be in the situation that we were in. I suppose the only downside today is Alex Moreno's season's over. Luke Dean, I don't know if don't quite know what the injury is there. That will come out in the week. So that's a bit of a frustrating one, that we probably won't have a left back, or if not, then it will be Luke Dean, which is fine, because I actually think he did quite well today. But we won't have Moreno. But yeah, we'll be playing a Brighton team who might not be playing for anything, and we just got to win the game to get top 7. So
there's a comment. There's a comment here that we'll end on from the football discussion from Cloudy, who says, "I couldn't see us losing to Bournemouth away, Leicester at home, or Wolves away, but it happened, and football is unpredictable till the game is over." And it's absolutely spot on, and I agree with that. And like I said, I could look like a massive mug next week if Brighton beat us and we finish 9th, because Brentford have beat Man City or something silly. But the only kind of different kind of mentality shift I'd put on it with those games is that whether you think about it or not, you always know there's another 6 games after that, or 20 games after this one. Like, today's result doesn't really matter. Next week, it's like, if we don't do it, it's on us. This is the last thing. Like, it's Brighton or nothing. So that probably raises your game 5%, and that's probably enough with a great home crowd to get over the line. So yes, football isn't as easy as just going, we'll win, move on, because if it would work like that, we wouldn't be in a job. But and I just can't see us not doing it.
It's not jinxing it or anything to suggest that we're not going to go into that game as, again, if everything plays out as we think that Brighton will beat Southampton, we will be favourites to win that game. Those are the facts, because we're playing for something they're not, and we're at home. So, and we beat them away. Like, there we go. Look, it's not a kind of being a big-headed thing. I know that wasn't the comment. I'm not even talking about that. I just meant in general. I don't think it's been over confident or anything. It's just simply it's a final at Villa Park, and I think we'd back ourselves to beat most teams at the moment. So bring on. And
also, just on Brighton very specifically, they are a good side, of course.
Yeah,
they've got a problem in them. Like, the Everton game is the one, isn't it? Where you just go, they got battered there, like, out of nowhere. Like, they're either very good, because then they go and absolutely tear Arsenal to shreds 3-0. The game after, they obviously battered Wolves as well, I think the week before the Everton game. But it's just kind of like, there's something there that you could beat Brighton 4-0 next week. And it's just like, well, that doesn't look unexpected, because they do have a mad result in them sometimes.
That's true, and
but also, between now and then, they play 2 games. They play Southampton and Man City, and whatever they do, and whether it means they're guaranteed 6th or whatever, it's still 180 minutes of football that we don't play. We've got a week of preparation. Like, it's all in our favour, basically. I know we're getting carried away that we're guaranteed to win and all that, but it's just, if I have to put my neck on the line, and I am, we'll beat them.
Yeah, but both sides. It's the Tottenham game's in our favour, because they're playing a team who have to win, and again, it's Tottenham. And then our game, we're playing it again. I'm not going to say it all again, but it's all in our hands, and we've got to do the job still, of course, but absolutely back us to do it.
Yeah, exactly the same. And the last thing I want to mention is our Claret Blue live show, which is now on the verge of being a Claret Blue party. If we actually qualify for Europe, it's going to be a great end to the season to be able to get together and chat through it, and also have a beer and kind of celebrate. We've kind of said all the way through that, if we do, have your water, John, it's fine. If we don't qualify for Europe, it's still a good season to talk about, and that will be the case regardless of what happens next week. But if we do kind of creep out of nowhere and not out of nowhere, but it wasn't in our hands, and now it is. So we've kind of had this event prepped for a few days after Brighton. If we do get into the top 7, that's a night for us to kind of celebrate that and chat through it and have a drink, like I said. So if you want to come along, tickets are I think there's about 75 left. I think we've sold 300 now, and the venue capacity is about 370, 375. There's tickets down below. They're free. You can come along. If you don't fancy it, you just cancel your ticket. You don't have to pay anything. It'll be you, me, John, Matt Kendrick, and James Rushton filling in for Ash, who is unavailable. And we'll be talking through the season as a whole, but more specifically 2023, hopefully our kind of upward curve into Europe as well. And so if you want to come, there's tickets down below, and it'll be hopefully a celebration of the season, because we've achieved something. And you look at what we said about the Conference League before. Is it a proper trophy and blah blah blah. We've said it all before. But you look at West Ham last night or Thursday night, or whenever it was, and their celebrations to finally get to a final. And I want a bit of that for Villa. So I don't care what the competition is.
Yeah, I don't want to be painted as the villain in this whole piece. That's kind of been named out in that comment. But we need. We need it'll be I don't know what I'm saying. I feel like you put me in the corner. Yeah, it'll be a really good thing to get, and that would allow us to get Europa League if we were to win it. So, which would be much harder in the Premier League. Yeah,
Mourinho's Roma won it last year, and now they're in the Europa League final because they qualified through that. So if they win the Europa League final, Roma win the Champions League. So there's the pathways there. That's what's to celebrate.
Yeah, exactly. My only thing that was just that if there wasn't Europa League involved, it would be a bit of a, can we just be in the Europa League instead?
Maybe we will be. Maybe Southampton will win, and mate, it's still on.
Next season, strange, not to drag on. There's a strange sort of coefficient thing happening. I think it's like the top 5 teams, which I'll be honest, I don't really understand it, but that's something to look at later down the line.
Yeah, let's baby steps, mate. Let's get there first. John, thank you very much for joining me this evening. Apologies, it's been a little all over the place. It's bloody boiling in this room now. The weather's taking a little bit of a rise. It's bad up here.
It's been dramatic as well, so we are a bit all over the place, and we're doing 50 minutes of it though. So
this is what the post-match show is. It's supposed to be a bit of. This is the vibe. This is how we feel. Where are we going to go next? It's not like we're going to talk about this, and this, and have structure. Well, I think we're going to, and this is something we'll talk about in the live show and probably early June. There's a bit of a Claret and Blue restructuring coming soon, is all I can say at the moment, where things are changing, cogs are turning. We'll have some new shows. There'll be some changes to the shows that we do at the moment. We might rebrand things differently and package them differently, and we'll talk about that later down the line because I think things are going to change a little bit. Still, although that's not like the podcast is ending or anything, or we're going to bin things off. Like we're still doing the podcast next year, but it's going to look slightly different,
more structure. Which, I don't know, this post-match show is all good and stuff, but it is a case of with like any other human being, we've just had our dinner and we haven't really thought about doing the show yet because we are working as well. So it's kind of jumping on and talking. We haven't really provided too much of an insight, I don't think. Whereas
I think it's still good, but I think going forward we have again, this is a planning meeting on air. We have a more structured show at the start of the week where we say, right, we're going to talk about these 6 topics, and the post-match show is maybe 25 minutes, half an hour, and it's like, let's talk about a couple of things and then go away again. We've done 52 minutes and it's descended into a bit of waffle and we're all over the place. Like, we don't really want that. We want it to be a bit tighter.
We're trying to feed the appetite for Villa coverage after a game, but could we do better in terms of actually analysing it, picking the pieces out of it, which I think the answer to that is yes. So that's over the new season, but
we'll talk about it at the end of the season. And like I said, we'll talk about it at the live show. We'll do a little video about what does the Claret and Blue podcast look like next season. But the way I worded that then was like, we're not doing it next season. It'll still be here. It's just going to look a little bit different. The main message to take away though is a comment here from Emery Thing Villa that I forgot to mention. I hope Kendrick is recording his unicycle progress.
Yeah.
He said if Villa get into Europe, I will learn to ride the unicycle. I did text him and say, how do you feel about that? And he said, I'm currently out for a drink, but I feel terrible. Come on, Brighton. So that tells you everything. So, absolutely.
Would that be a good video or not?
It'd be a brilliant video. Can you imagine Matt Kendrick trying to bumble his way around a unicycle?
How would it work?
I don't know. I'll go meet him and start filming falling off it loads of times and stuff.
Where are those pads, skateboard pads?
I mean, that's what I'm more buzzing about for next week. If we win, it's like, Conference League, whatever. Where's Kendrick's unicycle? That's what I want to go and cover. Mate, that's a shout. Imagine welcome to the stage, Matt Kendrick, and he wheels himself on a unicycle. Oh, what a brilliant shout that is!
Stabilizers.
I'll mention that to him. Thank you for that. Thank you everyone for tuning in as always. Like we said, a little bit random, a little bit scattergun, but this is the post-match show. It's going to change a little bit next season, but we'll talk about that more then. Thanks everyone for watching. As always, John, thank you for joining me. Thanks to the people, by the way, that I tweeted earlier saying live show coming up. It's going to be a bit of a party. We have 10 tickets sell like that. So now, like, it looks like Villa might achieve something. People are going, oh yeah, I fancy going to that. I fancy going for a beer and chatting about the season. So ticket for that down below. Come and see us. We'd appreciate it. We'll be back. I don't know when, maybe Monday or Tuesday we'll do something, but I'm not sure just yet. If nothing else, there'll be a match preview for Brighton, and then obviously the post-match show next Sunday. Thank you very much.
There's a video go on Monday, isn't there? I think.
Oh yeah, a video about the live show specifically is coming Monday. Yeah, great. You know more than me. Yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Bit all over the place. We hope you like it. We'll see you very soon. Bye. Thank you for listening to Claret and Blue and Aston Villa podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please do let us know. We love hearing your thoughts and comments. We'll be back soon with another episode, but until then, up the Villa.